This program brought to you in part by the Erica Lewis Endowment Fund.
Coming up next on Varsity Quiz, it's Arbor View taking on Silverado. This is Varsity Quiz. Hello and welcome to the 53rd season of Varsity Quiz, where the best and the brightest high school students match wits in this unique academic competition. Now, we hope you know there are now 2 Varsity Quiz leagues in each season's competition. Tonight, the road to the Blue League Championship continues with Arbor View facing Silverado. Let's go ahead and meet tonight's players, starting with Arbor View. It's Tate. Hey, Tate, good to see you. Welcome. There's Zachary. Hey, Zach. Braden, howdy. And Reese. Ladies and gentlemen, Arbor View. Now, you know, Arbor View was undefeated in their division. Now let's move over to Silverado, also undefeated in their division, and we say hi to Nate. Hey, Nate, good to see you. Love it when there's a couple of Nates in the room. Daniela, how's it going? Good to see you. There's Cassandra and Lynn. Ladies and gentlemen, Silverado. Students, are you ready? Let's play Varsity Quiz. According to some of the conspiracy theories associated with and advanced by Sidney Powell, which former leader of a South American nation was directly connected to some of the software used to rig the 2020 U.S. elections? It was Hugo Chavez. Next question. What one word can have any of these meanings? Markings at regular intervals, a series of musical notes, an oxide layer on metal surfaces, a flat structure covering fish, or a balance used for weighing. And that's our review. Braden.
Scales?
Yes, and you don't have to lean in, we gotcha. General Motors brands, they offer customers a progression of cars from a younger person's first new car purchase to an older person's last luxury sedan. So which of the brands with models like the Cascada or Encore represents a middle step of the GM ladder? Silverado, Cassandra?
Buick?
Yes. Whether its shape is circular, rectangular, or triangular, the stage is usually even with or below the audience, seating completely surrounding it in what kind of theater? Arbor View, Braden?
Auditorium?
Incorrect. Silverado, Daniela?
Black box?
No, we're looking for theater in the round. Next question, what term for a point or line used in surveying and geology is used as a pun to complete this joke? How do geographers find the person they're going to marry? Our review, Braden?
By getting to the point?
Oh, good guess, but no. Silverado, Nate?
By putting a pin in it?
No, they datum. Groans. Okay, next is a calculation question. According to a measurement you made, 1 mole of a certain compound had a mass of 149.91 grams. To the nearest whole number, if the accepted molar mass of that compound is 158.04, what is the percent of error for your measurement? Repeating. According to a measurement you made, 1 mole of a certain compound had a mass of 149.91 grams. To the nearest whole number, if the accepted molar mass of that compound is 158.04, what's the percent of error for your measurement? Arbor View, Braden?
12%?
Incorrect. And we were looking for 5%. Next question, the rate at which the enamel in teeth demineralizes is reduced by adding what binary compound of a halogen or halogen to drinking water? Our review, Zachary?
Fluoride?
Yes. In 1975, a U.S. Senate investigation charged that an agency of the United States illegally plotted to assassinate foreign leaders and also maintained a secret stockpile of poisons, despite an executive order that had directed them to be destroyed. What is this agency's full name? Our review, Zach?
Central Intelligence Agency?
Yes. The interval called a fourth corresponds to a frequency ratio of 4 to 3. Name the interval that corresponds to a frequency ratio of 3 to 2. Did they get in time? Okay, that'll be Silverado. Nate?
A third?
No, we were looking for a fifth. Next question. In the comic strip Pearls Before Swine, which character group is described as, quote, obsessed with eating their neighbors, especially zebra? They make Wile E. Coyote look like Moriarty. Arbor View, Braden?
Hyenas.
No? Silverado, Daniela?
Lions.
No, it was the Crocs. Next question. Which Chinese dynasty ruled the longest? Was it the Han, the Ming, the Qing or Qing, and the Zhou? Silverado, Nate?
The Zhao.
Yes. Where along which geographic feature would you find the continental divide for the eastern part of the United States? Our review, Zachary?
The Appalachian Mountains.
I think we can accept that. Yes. Next question. You find yourself at a college football game at Sanford Stadium. The people around you screaming for the Dogs. The band's playing Glory. You're on the campus of which SEC university? Our review, Zachary?
University of Georgia.
Yes. Which U.S. federal celebration occurs annually on June 14? Our review, Braden?
Juneteenth.
Incorrect. Silverado, Daniela?
Flag Day.
Yes. Next question is a calculation question. A teacher divided all the students into groups of 3. Each group of students wrote a report that required 9 unique pictures. Well, the groups used 585 pictures altogether. So how many students were in the classes? Repeating, a teacher divides all the students into 3 groups of 3. Each group, we'll go with Silverado, Daniela.
65.
That's incorrect. I'll finish repeating. Each group of students wrote a report that required 9 unique pictures. The groups used 585 pictures altogether. How many students were in the classes? 195 students. Next, what is the maximum number of people who can share a Nobel Prize? Arbor View, Reese?
3.
Yes. On July 1, it's noon in Las Vegas. What time is it in Honolulu, Hawaii? Silverado, Daniela?
9 a.m.
Yes. On which long-running British TV series might you see a robot dog named Canine? Silverado, Daniela?
Doctor Who.
Yes. Peter's not feeling well. His primary care doctor referred him to a hepatologist. What does the doctor believe is ailing Peter? His liver. Grammatically speaking, what's the term for the last phrase in these sentences? She appointed her son her private secretary. They considered the applicant very qualified. And we regarded the news highly slanted. Silverado, Nate?
Adjective.
Incorrect. Our review, Tate?
Participle.
No, we're looking for object complement. Next question. The diseases of beriberi, pellagra, scurvy, rickets, paresthesia, and night blindness are all linked to a dietary deficiency of what? Arbor View, Reese?
Vitamin C.
Judges? Incorrect. Silverado, Cassandra?
Vitamin C.
Nope. Just vitamins in general is what we were looking for. So no correct answer. We move on. What is the etymological meaning of the last syllable in the names for the following places? Hartford, Stratford, Waterford, and Chelmsford. Silverado, Nate?
River crossing.
Judges? Yes. Okay, chagrin reward is an anagram of the name of what German composer of Tannhauser? That's a complicated one. We're looking for Richard Wagner. Next is a calculation question. When you roll 2 fair dice, what's the probability in simplest form that the sum of the dice equals 9? Repeating, when you roll 2 fair dice, what's the probability in simplest form that the sum of the dice equals, Arbor View, Braden?
1 in 18.
Incorrect. And time, we were looking for 1 in 9. And one more question. The gerund in this sentence serves which function? I'm sorry for breaking your heart. It is the object of the preposition. Whew. Well, that's the end of our first round. Give all these kids a round of applause. But before we move on, we want to learn more about our players. So we're going to start with Arbor View, and we'll meet Senior Tate. Hey, Tate. It says here that you have climbed a pretty big mountain. What was it, and when did you do that?
It was about 4 years ago, Mount Whitney in California.
How was that?
Pretty rough.
Yeah, I would think that'd be pretty exhilarating. Well, congratulations on that, and good luck here on Varsity Quiz. Thank you, Tate. Next, we meet senior Zach. Hi, Zach. How's it going? Now, it says here that something happened when you were born that you probably don't remember, but your folks have told you about it. What happened?
I was born in a hurricane in
Ouch.
Tallahassee, Florida.
How did that go?
Evidently, I'm fine.
Okay, good. Well, we're glad you're here, and good luck here on Varsity Quiz. Thank you, Zach. Here's junior Braden. Hi, Braden. It says here that you have lived overseas. Where did you live, and what was going on at the time?
So I lived in Okinawa, Japan for 6 years because my father was in the Air Force. He was stationed at Kadena.
Okay. Well, we're glad you're here, and good luck here on Varsity Quiz. Thanks, Braden. Here's sophomore Reese. Hi, Reese. Apparently somebody did some Ancestry.com or something going back on your family history. It says you're the descendant of somebody. How does that work?
So I am related to the founder of Haribo Gummy Bears. Haribo is actually an acronym for Hans Riegel Bone, and then when he moved from Germany to the United States, Riegel got changed to Rigel, which is my last name.
Wow, so somehow you're related to the founder of Gummy Bears. How's that feel?
Pretty good.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, that's our Arbor View team. Now let's meet our players from Silverado. We'll start with Nate. He's a junior. Hi, Nate. Good to have you here. It says here you participated in the Nevada State Geography Bee. When was that?
2019.
How did that go?
Pretty good. I was third in the
That's
state.
awesome. Well, congratulations for that, and good luck here on Varsity Quiz. Thanks, Nate. Here's a junior, Daniela. Hi, Daniela.
Hi.
Glad you're here. This says that something that happened to you in elementary school has stuck with you so long that you wanted to talk about it. What happened back then?
In elementary school, my gate class, we did competitive Rubik's Cube competitions. And we never won, but it was fun.
Can you still do a Rubik's Cube?
Yeah, not as
Awesome.
fast, but.
Yeah, well, of course. Well, good luck with that, and good luck here on Varsity Quiz. Thanks, Daniela. Here's junior Cassandra. Hi, Cassandra. Glad you're here. You have had some brushes with celebrity fame. Who have you met?
I've met Donny Osmond, and I've basically met LeBron James. I was like this far away from him, so I
Well,
basically
actually, you
met
must
him.
have been this far away from him.
Yeah.
Was that here in Las Vegas?
No, I was singing at the Pelicans game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, I hope you meet more celebrities, and good luck on Varsity Quiz. Thanks, Cassandra. And here's senior Lynn. Hi, Lynn. It says here you have a pet. Tell me what kind of pet your pet is and some kind of a name for the pet.
I have a pet tortoise. Her name is Lampshade. She's actually hibernating right now. She should be waking up in a few months.
Absolutely, because hopefully you all participate while you're ineligible now with the Mojave Max Emergence Contest. Y'all remember that? Anyway, that's our team from Silverado. The bonus round is coming up next. The score going into round two, it's tied. Arbor View and Silverado each have 30 points. Now, Arbor View is keeping their same players. We have one new player for Silverado. We say hello to senior Alyssa. Hi, Alyssa.
Hello.
Welcome. Okay, now this round is timed at 6 minutes, and time starts as I begin this first question. Only one U.S. state has a border with just one other state. Please name it. Arbor View, Zachary?
Maine.
Yes, bonus questions now for Arbor View only. Answer the following about state borders. First, which pair of states share the longest common border? Second, two states border 8 others. Name either of them.
No. I think it's like back east where there's the small states.
Captain?
For the first question, Nevada and California. For the second, no answer.
Both are incorrect. The longest state is Texas and Oklahoma, and then Missouri or Tennessee. So no bonus points. Now this question for both teams. Which famous TV program debuted on Saturday, October 11, 1975? Silverado, Alyssa?
Saturday Night Live.
That's correct. Bonus questions now for Silverado only. Answer the following about Saturday Night Live. First, who holds the record as the oldest person to host the show? Second, 5 people have hosted the show at least 10 times. Name one of them.
Like anyone, like.
Chevy Chase.
Should I say that?
I feel like
Will Ferrell, maybe.
Will Ferrell.
Maybe Will Ferrell. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Captain?
For the first question, Betty White, and for the second, Will Ferrell.
Betty White is correct, so some bonus points. The others, Alec Baldwin 17 times, Steve Martin 15, John Goodman 13, Tom Hanks 10, and Buck Henry 10. Next question for both teams. In 1869, the U.S. Supreme Court used the case Texas v. White to hold that which action taken a number of years before was unconstitutional? We were going for secession. Next question for both teams is a calculation question. If a brake fluid has a specific gravity of 0.8 and the weight of 1 cubic foot of water is 62.4 pounds, to the nearest tenth, what's the weight of 1 cubic foot of the brake fluid? Repeating, if a brake fluid has a specific gravity of 0.8, the weight of 1 cubic foot of water is 62.4 pounds. To the nearest tenth, what's the weight of 1 cubic foot of the brake fluid? Arbor View, Braden.
49.9 pounds.
Yes, bonus questions now for Arbor View only. Answer the following calculation questions. First, the square of -3 is how much larger than the cube of -3? Second, what's the probability that a randomly drawn number between 100 and 110 inclusive will be prime? I'll repeat. The square of -3 is how much larger than the cube of -3? And what's the probability that a randomly drawn number between 100 and 110 inclusive will be prime?
I think, so 36 for sure for the first one. Okay,
Yeah, good.
okay, so for the first one, we'd like to answer 36, and for the second one, we'd like to answer 4 out of 10.
The first is correct. The second is 4 out of 11. So you get some bonus points, but not all the way. We move on to this question for both teams. Only one NFL team has completed a perfect season, winning all games, including the Super Bowl. Which team completed this feat? Arbor View, Zachary?
Miami Dolphins.
Yes, bonus questions now for Arbor View only. Answer the following about football records. First, the longest careers in the NFL belong to Morton Anderson, Adam Vinatieri, and Gary Anderson. All played the same position. What was it? Second, the record for the most Super Bowl rings is 8. It's held by an active coach who has 8 rings. You have 20 seconds.
Yeah, go for it. Sure, yeah.
Okay, for the first one, we'd like to go defensive back, and for the second one, Bill Belichick.
Belichick is correct. The first one, they're kickers. So again, some bonus points. Next question for both teams. Abraham Lincoln, the first assassinated president. Which president was the first to survive an assassination attempt earlier in the 19th century? That's Silverado. Nate?
Millard Fillmore.
Incorrect. Arbor View, Braden?
Zachary Taylor.
No, we were looking for Andrew Jackson. Next question for both teams. Meteorologists only use the term hurricane for storms in the Atlantic Ocean and the Eastern Pacific. So in the Northwest Pacific Ocean, they're called typhoons. We'll go with Arbor View. Braden?
No answer.
Okay, that is an interrupt. I'll complete the question. What name is used for the same type of storm if in the Indian Ocean or the Southern Pacific? Silverado, Nate?
Cyclone.
Yes, bonus questions now for Silverado only. Answer the following about weather. First, in which compass direction do tornadoes north of the equator usually move? Second, forecasters work with warm fronts and cold fronts regularly. What term names the rare front caused when a cold front overtakes a warm front?
I'm thinking.
Cold comes over warm. What do we call it?
Coach, our captain, we didn't answer.
For the first question, southwest, and for the second, no answer.
Okay, the second is occluded. I'm going to check with the judges, see if we can accept their first answer. We needed southwest to northeast, so no bonus points. Next question for both teams. As of December 2021, 609 Nobel Prizes have been awarded. Of the 6 categories the prizes cover, which is the one almost always won by a single person, with one laureate 110 times out of the 114 awards? That's Arbor View. Reese?
Literature?
Yes, bonus questions now for Arbor View only. Answer the following about the Nobel Prizes. First, which category is shared the most often with 224 laureates out of 112 prizes? Second, 49 times at least one prize was not awarded. What is by far the most common reason for no award of that prize?
Okay. Yeah, I would do that.
Okay, we'd like to answer. For the first one, science. For the second one, it was not credible.
Okay, both are incorrect. We're looking for specifically medicine and physiology. And then the second one was the Peace Prize was not awarded because of war. Okay, that is the end of the bonus round. Speed round next. Ooh, we got a close one. The score going into round 3, Arbor View has 55 points to Silverado's 45. No new players, so we're ready to get right into the speed round with 30 questions. Here we go. In Iran, what's the term for Catholics, Baptists, Buddhists, or anybody else who subscribes to a religion other than Islam? Not in time? Okay, we're looking for infidel. Next question. Name either of the 2 most common types of wounds caused by dog bites. Arbor View, Braden?
Bite wounds.
Incorrect. And time, we're looking for laceration or puncture. Next question. On January 10th, Alabama and Georgia met for the College Football National Championship. What team did the Crimson Tide beat to get to the title game? Arbor View, Zachary.
Cincinnati.
Yes. Rodents have what kind of teeth that grow continuously? Incisors. Next question. What's the most northern state capital in the continental United States? Arbor View, Braden.
Juneau.
Incorrect. Silverado, Nate.
Olympia.
Yes. What was the last U.S. city to host an Olympic Games? Arbor View, Zachary.
Salt Lake City.
Yes. If you arrange the additive primary colors alphabetically, which one's last? Silverado, Daniela.
Yellow.
Incorrect. Arbor View, Braden.
Violet.
Incorrect. Looking for red. Next is a calculation question. You have a 40-foot pipe marked into 3 sections. If the middle section's 10 feet long, what's the distance between the centers of the outer sections? Arbor View, Braden.
15 feet.
Incorrect. Silverado, Daniela.
20 feet.
Incorrect. Looking for 25. Next question. Which state's license plate declares it as the sportsman's paradise? Louisiana. Next, which 2 planets have the greatest number of moons? Silverado, Nate.
Jupiter and Saturn.
Yes. In baseball, before the Giants moved to San Francisco, what city was the team's home? Arbor View, Zachary.
New York.
Yes. Last August, the California Board of Pardons and Paroles recommended parole for the assassin of Senator Robert F. Kennedy, who may be released in the near future. Sirhan. Next question. How many ounces are in a gallon? Arbor View, Braden.
128.
Yes. Calculations questions next. If 4 people can mow a field in 3 hours, how many equally skilled people could complete the job in half an hour? Arbor View, Braden.
12.
Incorrect. Silverado, Daniela.
24.
Yes. Next question. The battles of Sabine Pass, Fort Pillow, the Wilderness, and Cold Harbor were all battles in which U.S. war? Silverado, Nate.
The Civil War.
Yes. Which system is used most often to identify minerals? It's the Mohs hardness scale. Next, what category of glands carries secretory products to an epithelial surface? Arbor View, Tate.
Sebaceous glands.
Incorrect. Silverado, Nate.
Pituitary glands.
No, we were looking for exocrine. Next, what is Nevada's least populated county according to the 2020 census? Arbor View, Zachary.
Esmeralda County.
Yes. Next question. The record for the longest membership in the Dow Jones Industrial Stock Average ran from the founding in May 1896 to June 2018. Belonged to the company that was founded by Thomas Edison. General Electric. Next, if you watch a cable channel that includes Noir Alley Saturday evenings, Silent Sunday night every week, and 31 days of Oscar during the month of the Academy Awards, you're watching which channel? Oh, Turner Classic Movies. Which Boolean operator would you use in a search for information about 44 caliber lever action rifles made by Remington in the 1920s? And next, the Alpine Fault runs nearly the entire length of South Island in what country in Oceania? That's Silverado, Nate.
New Zealand.
Yes. In physics, all vectors have which 2 properties? Arbor View, Braden.
Magnitude and direction.
Yes. These are sports teams in which state? The Danbury Mad Haters, the New Haven Warriors, and the Hartford Wanderers. Arbor View, Zachary?
Connecticut.
Yeah, and that's probably the Mad Hatters, by the way. The amount of energy that must be added to a mole of a solid at constant pressure to turn it directly into a gas is called the heat of what? Sublimation. Next, gliders routinely gain altitude by capitalizing on streams of rising warm air called what? They're thermals. Completed in 2012, the world's largest dam spans what Asian river? Silverado, Nate?
The Yangtze.
Yes. Which U.S. vice president's the only one to win a Nobel Peace Prize? Al Gore. What treaty did the new Russian government sign to take the nation out of World War I? Silverado, Nate?
Treaty of Brest-Litovsk.
Yes. Name the early embryological stage that consists of a hollow mass of cells. Silverado, Nate?
Zygote.
Incorrect. And we're looking for blastula. We're out of time, so let's find out who won. And the final score, Arbor View, 90, Silverado, 80. How about a round of applause for both teams? An excellent match. Congratulations to Arbor View on the win. So Arbor View will be taking on A-Tech for the Blue League Championship next week. We hope you'll tune in for another exciting night of Varsity Quiz right here on Vegas PBS.